Okay, well, why don't we go ahead and get started? Hopefully, I think we have a pretty good crowd here in the audience. And so for most of you, I assume you've been on one of our prior Q&As, but just as a quick reminder, in the event this is the first time you're tuning in, really the intent for these is to try to provide some additional information to you guys as this crisis has evolved. Share information that we think is pertinent and will be of interest to you. But after that, really, it's also a chance for us to just answer any questions that you may have, an opportunity for us to get feedback, which is always appreciated. I'm sure you're communicating regularly with your supervisors and department heads, but nonetheless, this is a good opportunity for us to connect. And so, as I have in the past, let me first, before I begin with any information, just start by, again, expressing my thanks and noting my incredible gratitude for the job that all of you guys are doing in navigating this crisis. And, I'll say I've had a few of these Q&As already this week, and it's funny when you look at how each department or section of the organization is responding to this. You kind of look at how everyone's handling it, and it's kind of like being a parent to kids, where you're very proud of everybody, but sometimes in different ways. And so, we've had Q&As with departments that are more present out in the field, conducting work out in the field, and no question, we're very grateful for all they're doing. But I have to say, when I look at this group who's on this call, I just take an enormous amount of pride in thinking through the ways that all of you have gotten so creative and innovative in adapting to this sort of new normal and continuing, doing your jobs and providing services in again, new and creative ways. For most of your departments, the manner in which we're delivering services may look in a lot of ways very different than what it did a couple of months ago, but I view that as an enormous positive about how flexible and adaptive you guys have been in thinking through new and creative ways to do things. And so whether it is the permitting and the plan review processes, transfer stamps, birth and death certificates, all of these virtual meetings and virtual lunches that HR has been setting up to help people stay connected. Certainly IT staff being sort of the glue that allows a lot of this to happen behind the scenes. Really, you guys have been at the forefront of us just growing, I think, exponentially as an organization. And so I always try to remain the optimist and think there are silver linings and lessons to be learned as we go through, circumstances like this. And I do think one of the true silver linings coming out of this is kind of forcing us to think about new ways to deliver services. And I think there will be lessons learned coming out of this that will serve us well going forward, and that will incorporate into our normal operations whenever there is a sort of return to normalcy, if you will. And really, again, you guys deserve all of the credit for that. So I just want to, again, start by thanking you and reminding you of how proud I am of the job everyone's doing. And I'm also very mindful, not just from hearing about your experiences, but also through my own too, that those of you working remotely, it does not mean you're sitting at home. I know you're putting in many instances, longer hours than you ever did when you had the luxury of coming into MS or to City Hall. And so again, I want you to know it's not gone unnoticed, and we just really appreciate what you're doing. And so with that, a couple of things that I wanted to share with the group. I think everybody is at this point pretty much well aware that last week the governor did extend his stay-at-home executive order through the end of May. In terms of what that means for us, certainly for MS and for City Hall, I think it's pretty self-explanatory that those buildings will remain closed to the public, and for the most part, for staff as well. Again, this is a group between the various departments and sections on this call who have, again, adapted very well to working remotely. But clearly for the next month, we're going to continue doing what we've been doing. Having said that, there have been discussions, and we've already started the process in some of your departments about slowly expanding access to the building, expanding the scope of services that we're providing to the community. And I only want to reiterate and affirm to all of you that any of those discussions that have already occurred and may occur in the weeks ahead will all be done with your health and safety first and foremost in our minds when making any decisions. And really a lot of credit to the department heads on this call, Kathy, Elizabeth, Deshay, Jim. They have been steadfast in their commitment to ensuring your health and safety when considering any changes to our procedures or protocols. I really have been impressed by and proud of all of the procedures that were put in place to ensure everyone had appropriate access to protective gear and equipment if they were coming into the building, or if very limited work did need to occur in the field. And so that will continue to happen. But, you know, we're also mindful of, as we've settled into a bit of a routine here, of not wanting to create too much of a backlog in the work that is potentially building in some of the departments, because this has obviously gone on a little longer than perhaps we all initially thought. But we're also, and I want to be honest with everyone, mindful of the optics with the public. We are very fortunate as an organization that we are able to continue paying all of our employees. That will continue to happen through the month of May here, and I anticipate well into the future. I see no reason at this point for us to change course, albeit still not knowing exactly how long this will go. I'm actually very pleased and credit to the staff that, you know, and to the council for approving it, that we are moving forward with our May 1 wage adjustments too. And so on one hand, I want to acknowledge, you know, Elizabeth in particular and the finance team, the rest of the department heads, and certainly, you know, Bob Kiley, those who've come before me, past city councils, for putting us in this strong financial position. I'm riding the coattails of everyone else's great work here. But the truth is, it was a lot of hard work to have us positioned to be in this, you know, to have this opportunity to be able to continue taking care of our employees. And we're very lucky compared to most communities out there. I think there's going to be much more information out in the public. You'll see it in the media about communities that are having to look at furloughs, having to look at layoffs. Again, we're not there and we don't have to do that. And I'm very proud of that fact. But again, I'm also mindful of, you know, demonstrating to the public our ability to remain productive through this crisis. And so that is why we will continue to have some conversations about opportunities to continue to expand operations, but we'll only emphasize again that will be done only with an assurance that we can keep our employees safe and healthy. And so with that, I know one of the big questions on everyone's mind is sort of the future and what does the future look like? And unfortunately, I can't really answer that today. We don't have an answer for what June 1 may look like, or if it's extended out further from there. The situation has certainly been evolving by the week, and it's going to continue to evolve. All I can commit to all of you is that as we have new information, we will continue to communicate it out proactively, certainly by having more of these Q&A sessions, but also I'm confident that you guys are in more regular communication with your supervisors, with your department heads, and they will be sharing information with you when we have it. But I know some of the questions that have already been posed about, you know, what will the office look like when we reopen? Will it be open to the public right away at full hours? Will some staff be able to continue to work remotely? Again, I can't answer those questions today. What I can say pretty definitively is that if the governor did relax restrictions on May 30th, nobody should expect that June 1 is going to look like what we were doing a couple of months ago, things are going to be different for us. And I think, that's okay. In some respects, there's some good lessons to be learned from all of this. And so whether we look at reopening our buildings down the road with limited hours for the public, delaying openings to the public and only having staff in the buildings, staggering shifts, again, still allowing some remote access. We're open to all of those ideas, and those are conversations we'll have in the weeks ahead. But again, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of answers on the specifics to it today. And so really, that's all I had that I wanted to share. Again, keep up the great work. You guys are doing a remarkable job. Very proud of everything you're doing. And with that, I will be happy to turn it over to maybe Deshay first, and then see if Kathy, Jim, Elizabeth, if you have any comments. And then after that, we're happy to answer your questions.
Okay, hi everybody. Hope everybody's staying well. Just a few things. First of all, I just want to reiterate what Jason said about our May 1 adjustments. They are going to be 2.5% in general. And we are really, really fortunate to be able to continue to do those. I can tell you that many of my colleagues are experiencing furloughs or layoffs or salary freezes, that sort of thing. So we are just, I can't stress it enough, we are so fortunate that we're able to do that. I had mentioned that some of you who were classified as emergency personnel, that it would be presumptive that workers' comp would be, it would be workers' comp if you came down with COVID-19. That's since changed since the last time we met. Someone filed a temporary restraining order, which was granted by the judges. The Workers' Comp Commission has now withdrawn that decision to make it presumptive, but we hear that there's some goings on down in Springfield to make it that way. So if anyone's sick, what would happen if you were considered an emergency responder, and I know some people in this group were labeled that way, then we would turn in a workers' comp form and it would be considered on a case-by-case basis at this point. The other thing that I think we sent it out, and I think it may have gotten lost a little bit, and all the stuff that's flying around about this is about your flexible spending account. If you are having funds withheld for dependent care, and of course now everything's closed and you're most likely not using that, you do have the ability to stop withholding, to make a change at this point and stop withholdings. And then you would be allowed to start them back up again once things, I hate to say go back to normal because we don't really know what that's going to look like, but once the daycare facilities, summer camps, those sorts of things that you may have been withholding for, once they know what's going on and go back to normal, then you can change it back again. But the one thing that hasn't changed about the program, because these are federal guidelines, is it is use it or lose it. So we don't want you to lose it at the end of the year if you haven't even had the ability to pay for those services. So there is on the website, on the blog, there is an item that says HR updates. And you can click on that and there is a link directly to the form that you need to fill out and return to Human Resources for processing. And we'll get it down to finance so they can do what they need to do with it on your paychecks. Also, if you have a spouse who maybe has been on their own insurance or their own employer's insurance and they've lost their jobs, you can add them to our plan right now and then take them off if things go back the other way. So that would be a PBA change form under benefits forms. Couple of events I wanted to point out. Today at noon is our next, I think it's number 4, Linda Porter lunch. And those have been very popular. That's at noon today. And I think we're gonna have a special guest on that. Then next week on Thursday, we're going to do at 5 p.m. We haven't sent anything out about this yet. We're going to do libations with Linda at the request of some in the group. So if you'd like to join us for that, then you would be able to actually be seen, you know, just like your department heads and Jason and I are right now. But anyway, that's upcoming. And then also on Tuesday, the 5th of May, that's next Tuesday at noon, Victor Perez, who is our ICMA representative, is going to do a presentation on about not panicking during the pandemic and what your investments hold and what you should do about that. Spouse, I've had this question already. That invitation went out yesterday. Spouses are absolutely welcome to attend that if you'd like. You do need to register with Victor. There's a link in the email. So if anybody needs it, can't find it, didn't get it, let Amber know and she can resend it. So that's about all I had right now. Thank you. But again, thank you all for everything that you've been doing as well. It's amazing to me how much we've accomplished and how far we've come. You know, it seems like we've come light years from when we went out on March 17th, but tomorrow is May already. So you guys are doing awesome. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Deshay. And I guess in order of how I see you guys on my screen, I'll start with Kathy first. Oh, you're on mute.
Good thing I was on mute. You didn't want to hear what I said the first time. Just thank you to everyone. I too am amazed at how much we're accomplishing. So stay well.
Jim, anything you want to add before we open it up?
Sure. You know, to date, our focus has largely been remote access and supporting remote users. So, and I think the guys have done a great job with that. Joe, Troy, and Cam, they've set up excellent systems and they're doing a great job supporting the user base. But for May, I think our focus is going to change to starting some of those projects that were placed on hold. So we're talking about projects like work order and citizen request, the core switch, our analytics. So if you're involved in one of those, you certainly stay tuned. We want to get things revved back up and get things rolling again. That's it.
And I'll plug Cam real quick for his patience in sitting through a 3-hour Public Works Committee meeting. Well done, sir. Those are painful, as you learned. So, Elizabeth?
Good morning, everybody. I would just echo the comments that have already been shared. I too am daily impressed with the amount of work people are doing. Finance staff, you've done an amazing job of transferring your work remotely, working behind the scenes, getting invoices done, getting people paid. Again this week, Mark, thank you for all the efforts you're putting forth, water billing. It's just been amazing to see us embrace the technology that BSNA provides us to really keep everything moving during this time. It is the end of the year. Today's the last day of our fiscal year. Happy New Year tomorrow. So that, you know, starts a whole different phase for the finance department and trying to wrap up year end and wrapping up the budget. Budget approval was delayed to next Monday, but we do anticipate having the budget approved Monday night by the City Council. And so Happy New Year to everybody.
Great, thanks. And with that, Amber, we're happy to open it up to any questions. If people have any, maybe you want to provide a quick reminder as to how the Q&A process works.
Absolutely. Depending on what device you have, the Q&A button will either be at the bottom of your screen or at the top. You'll be able to click on that and enter any question or statement you might have. I'll read those off as they come in. And there is a button, if you would like to remain anonymous, you can click the button and you will do so. So we do have one comment here, and then we'll give a minute or so for anybody to write any comments or questions that they might have. The first comment that we have is, I applaud the city manager for his leadership.
I did not write that, but that's pretty humorous. Really, all the credit goes to department heads and the rest of the staff. Everybody has just stepped up in tremendous ways. So thanks to everyone else for helping make me look good, I guess.
I will just say, because I know this question has come up at other meetings, to date, knock on wood, we have not had any employees come down with COVID. That is absolutely a testament to everything everybody has done. Not only your department heads and people working tirelessly to get PPE for us and cleaning supplies. And I know Kathy's been like a fiend around MS, cleaning the door handles and everything, and was very early on. To all of you, hopefully following all the right guidelines in your personal lives and at home, and social distancing and wearing masks and everything else. So I am just, it's kind of unbelievable. I was talking with one of my Board of Fire and Police Commissioners last night, and he couldn't believe that we hadn't had anybody come down with it. So that's a real testament to everybody. So thank you and keep it up.
Okay, we have one statement. Not a question, but rather a comment. I want to thank the executive staff for giving us the tools we needed to keep working from home.
It sounds like it's been working very well. I hear Mike's doing plan reviews on a 60-inch big screen, so not a bad setup from what I can gather. But really, yeah, credit to the department heads and to the IT staff for allowing this functionality. It has worked well, although I know for some of us, we're all probably going stir crazy being at home so much too. So,
but going back to all those projects we complained and moaned about and spent a lot of time on with the SNA and with SharePoint, boy, that was smart in hindsight, because that's really helping to allow us to do that.
it's fair to say none of this would be happening with HTE. So credit to everyone involved in that BSNA transition.
There are no other open questions or comments.
Okay, well, if not, thank you guys for taking some time out of your day to come listen to us. And again, keep up the great work. And I would just leave you with a final reminder to also make sure you're finding time to take care of yourself. I know, particularly for this group who's doing a lot of work remotely, it actually can add to the stress rather than just coming into the office. And so make sure you're finding times to unplug and get away from work too. It's really important. So again, thanks for everything you're doing. And if she's still on the call, happy birthday, Layla.
Oh, happy birthday, Layla. And don't forget lunch with Linda at noon today.
All right, everybody, have a great day. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, we have a thank you. Layla says thank you. All right, everybody have a great morning.